Hey everybody, welcome to the Patty G Show. We are back for another great episode. I've got a marketer guru here in the studio. I'm excited to hear about Shelby Clement and her story with SCM and taking from an initial side hustle to now a full-time hustle. And before we get to that, I want to give a big, wonderful shout out and thank you to the amazing folks that bring you the show each and every week. Building 5, Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelry, Falaya Real Estate, Lake Men's Health Center, Horizon Financial Group, Gage, Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge, and you know our outfit of the day is always brought to you by McLavy Limited. And without further ado, Miss Shelby Clement, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Patty G.
I'm excited to have you on. I mean, you're like a marketing guru at this point, right?
Right, I guess you would say. I don't know how I feel about that word. It's weird, but hey, I'll go with it.
Okay. Well, I mean, is there a different
Guru is
term?
great.
Like marketing expert, marketing, you know?
I dig whatever.
Okay. We'll go with guru, right?
I'm cool with it.
So who are you for those that aren't aware, and what the heck do you do?
My name is Shelby Clement, and I own Shelby Clement Marketing, obviously short for SCM, or long form for SCM. But I actually came from the oil and gas industry. I went to LSU for my undergrad in marketing, and went to Thibodeau for oil and gas as their marketing director at 23 years old. Okay. I was kind of literally thrown into it. They didn't have it. It was just like a figure it out kind of stance. And as a young, 23-year-old, I was like, hell yeah, this job is amazing. And I loved it. And so I was there for 8 years. I met my husband. We had our children. And I just the job was so crazy where you would pick up, leave. I had to go to conferences. We were flying to different places and I couldn't do that. And I just felt like I was made for more. And so I was there for 8 years and I went to a social media marketing conference in California, literally the week before the pandemic hit.
So perfect timing.
Literally. Everybody was like, you're going to bring COVID back. And I was like, no, I'm not. It's going to be fine.
It's California. You're not going to bring COVID back, right? All the protocols they got in place. No. And it can't happen,
I'm not kidding. I literally went, and the week I got back, the world shut down. And so I had always known I wanted to be an entrepreneur of some sort. Obviously, my parents are entrepreneurs. My parents own a screen print and embroidery shop out of Hammond, Louisiana. And
what's it called?
Connie's Impressions. CI Sports, shout out.
I've heard of them. Yeah, absolutely.
My mom was a beautician and my dad was a dairy farmer. So then they
and naturally screen printing just
works.
is the organic step, right?
Next, right? I know. My mom was like on her way to Amy one day to drop us off. Like we literally grew up in Arcola, which is like close to Kentwood. And that's where the dairy farm was. And she's like, I really want to buy this clothing shop. And my dad was like, what? Anyway, so that evolved into, I think they've been in business now for 35 years or so. And so I knew I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always thought I would own a shop of some sort or a store or whatever. I never thought I would be doing what I'm doing today. So rewind back to when I went to California, it was social media marketing world. I did not even think that the company I was with at the time would actually pay for me to go to California, but they did because they didn't really believe in the social media aspect of things. This was still... It wasn't new because, I mean, social media's been around for like a long time. But,
right. But businesses being on social media.
Exactly.
And marketing that way.
And in oil and gas, they were just like, this doesn't work for us. Like, it's not going to work. But I was like, whatever. Take a long shot. Let me see if they'll, send me to California. And they did. Went without knowing anyone. Met one of a good girl that we're still kind of like friends since then. Came back. Told my husband, I was like, there is a market for social media managers. Like they do it everywhere except Louisiana. Well, the pandemic hit. I was newly pregnant at an 18-month-old. I was like on the brakes. We were sent home from work. So I was like working from home. And I was like, obviously I can't leave. We got job security, whatever. So I took what I learned in California and I implemented it for the company I was working for. And it skyrocketed their business. And so this is March of 2020. In February of 2021, I reached out to my first, I guess would say client. It was a restaurant. And I actually sent them a DM on social media, which is the worst thing that you can do. Just heads up, any social media managers, don't do that because you're going to get their social media manager. I happened to get the owner at the time because they were like in between people.
Right.
And I was like, John, this is great side hustle money and we can use it to upgrade our kitchen. And he was like, okay, cool. Like whatever, we wanted like new counters and we wanted to paint, whatever. And then it kind of just snowballed from there. Like people started talking. They were like, Shelby does social media marketing. Some people were like, okay, wait, can you come meet and help me? And then some people were like, what the hell does that even mean?
Yeah,
What do
is
you
a
mean?
social media marketer?
What do you mean you manage people's social media? That's so weird. And I was like, I know, it's whatever. So I got a few clients, and I looked at my husband, I was like, I think this can be a thing. And like, I'm a risk taker.
Okay. All right. But first, how many clients did you have at this time? What level of risk are we talking here?
So I was probably around 5 to 10 clients at the time.
Okay. And they're paying like a monthly service charge?
Yes. But I was very naive when I started.
You charge like $100.
No. I charged, but I didn't make people sign a contract. And in my naive heart, I was like, they're never going to leave. Like, it's fine. We have like a verbal agreement. I never told him there was a minimum. And I was like, John, I really want to do this. Well, let me back up. We had 2 kids. I worked for a company making good money. I had a company car. I had benefits like security because COVID, you don't know what the market. So he's like, what do you mean you want to leave corporate? He had known that I was so unhappy for months at a time. I would cry. I would go on job interviews. I was told I was overqualified or it wasn't a good fit. And I was just like, maybe this is what God wants me to do. Maybe I'm supposed to stay here, work this job, be a mom, which is completely fine. But like, I knew there was something more.
Right.
And I knew that what I had gone through and the experience that I had just molded me to be who I am right now and where I'm supposed to be in my business right now. So I was like, I really want to do this. Like, what do you think? And I'm more of a risk taker than obviously he is, which actually balances out really well because otherwise it would be pure chaos in our house.
My wife's the same way. Okay. She's the engineer.
Yeah.
And I mean, you would think the engineer, the CPA, but then it's like, no, I got this entrepreneurial creative side thing. So yeah, she's the balancer.
Oh, okay. So you need that in your life, 100%. Obviously.
Like she was like, no. Like let's slow down. Let's pump the brakes. Let's assess. Let's analyze. Let's figure out what the best route is. And I was like, no, let's just jump.
Let's just do it right now. Yeah. Why not? Whatever. So he was like, well, if you can match your salary, you can leave. And he always believed in like what I did, but he didn't understand it either. So I don't know in that moment if he realized what he actually verbally said, because I was like, challenge accepted. So I literally made an Excel document. I hate Excel. Like we just talked before we went on air how much I hate numbers, but I hate Excel. But I knew how to like put a name, put the like how much, and then add it up. Okay.
Yeah, the auto sum button.
Literally the whole thing. And so I presented it to him. I was like, look, I just matched my salary and I haven't even launched yet. And so February, I got
this is pre-contracts.
These are pre-contracts. Like,
so you're like, I've matched it, but you have nothing in
but
writing.
But like, I don't even know
months.
like how long they're going to be here. And I think at that time I like verbally was like, can you just stay for 3 months? And then I'll figure it out. Like whatever. And so I remember, so February 2021, I had my first client. And by May of 2021, I was able to leave corporate. And
February to May?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so literally I was like, we have to go buy a car because I'm quitting. And so he's not like a quick decision maker. So I was like, no, like I want to quit on Monday. So like we need to buy a car like this weekend.
Oh no.
And so anyway, long story short, it's just been a really big blessing. And I will say that there was a lot of ups and downs. There's a lot of failures that have taught me multiple things. But it's kind of just made me into who I am today. And I feel like I've been in business way longer than 2.5 years than.
Well, you got that corporate experience though.
I do.
So it's
have
not
the
like you're coming in saying I'm a 2.5-year-old company on paper, but I've really got 8.5, 10 years worth of experience.
Yes.
You know, and all focusing in on social media.
All focusing on social media.
So,
the Patty G Show is now proudly presented by Baton Rouge Regional Airport. Y'all, I fly exclusively Baton Rouge whenever I best can. And what they've got now since June of 23 is a nonstop flight from capital to capital, Baton Rouge Airport to Washington, D.C. You're able to make the round trip in one day. They've got the earliest flight, or even earlier than flying in New Orleans. You can fly to Baton Rouge to go from Baton Rouge to D.C., round trip one day. If you've got meetings in D.C. or you've got business gatherings, you definitely want to fly to Baton Rouge and go from capital to capital. They are a proud presenter. We are now brought to you by Baton Rouge Regional Airport. Thank you so very much for bringing them on as the latest sponsor of the Patty G Show.
So your first client, how did you craft your product selection? Did you have one?
No. I charge by the hour.
So you wait.
I did.
So there was no minimum fee. It was just like, I work for so many hours and this is my rate.
So literally, I will say, my first client, well, they stayed with me for like a year or so.
That's good.
And we still have a great relationship. Like, they took a chance on me. They talked really highly of me. They wanted to hire in-house. Like, it was a good, like, separation. But in the very beginning, they actually kind of helped me craft my pricing, because I was like, this is what I charge hourly. I will handle your social media. And what I did is I basically, every time I worked on their content or every time I answered stuff, I would log the hours and I'd add it up. Well, when they got the bill, they were like, we can't do this like this every month. And I was like, I didn't think so. So like, they helped me kind of craft, like, they set their budget of what they could spend a month on their actual social media. And I was like, okay, well, this is what you can get for that. And so I had consulted. So I went to social media marketing world. I made connections that were doing social media management. And then I also made that connection that I'm still friends with, that lives in Tampa. And we were just bouncing ideas off of each other of what do we charge, because it was new.
Right.
Obviously, social media management, I think, started really picking up in 2018. I hit it right in 2021. But like, that's people, it was everywhere else except Louisiana. So like, they were already in it. And so I think it was like a make it up as you go kind of pricing. And now I remember having a conversation with a client that I'm grateful for her that helped me make these tiers, but also I don't miss her as a client. It was just kind of like a bad blood kind of thing. But she was like, Shelby, you have to have tiers. And I'm like, what? She's like, you have to have it where they can be like, I want to pick this package and I want to do this. And so that kind of helped me craft it early on. And my prices definitely changed, because I was like, wow, I was undercharging. But in the same sense, I was new and I just needed to build my roster and I just needed to build my experience.
Yeah.
And so you don't really know. When I tell people, my advice to people that want to start out and they're like, I don't even know what to price, I'm like, you have to just start. Like, you can't expect to charge premium pricing without building your roster first.
And ultimately, your pricing tier, your pricing packages, I mean, there's a whole science behind how to present a pricing tiered package. But when you look at it, you also have to accept if the market's not going to pay that price.
Yep.
And it's not a knock on you or anything. It's just what the market's going to pay you that price.
Right.
So if you're tiered is at like, okay, we're going to charge you $1,000 a month. And the company's like, well, I really don't know you that well. I haven't really heard of you. Why don't we start at $750? Like, I can do $750 or something.
Right.
And as a business owner or as an entrepreneur just getting started, it's like, well, I can't really tell them no, because I still have to meet my old salary.
Right.
So I guess I'm just $750 for this client. And then you get into that whole conversation around, well, do I charge different clients different pricing because of when they hit me? And I'm like, you kind of have to, right? So if you've got a loyal client that's been with you since the beginning, very tough to have a conversation where you call them up and say, hey, I was charging you 1X and now I need to charge you 1.5X.
Yeah.
And it's just, I have to charge you that to where you now have to get up to what everybody else is paying. And then it's a quick way, if the relationship is like, well, we were doing it because that's what we could afford. And if you say, well, sorry, you can't do that anymore, then you drop it. And then it's like, well, now I've just lost that client, that relationship, and we were so close. Was it worth it?
Right. And I feel...
This episode is proudly presented by Gage. Gage is a local company here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. For over 40 years, Gage has provided businesses with the very best telecommunications, IT, and standby power services available. Gage has a variety of services, including Gage Cloud Voice. It is the last phone system your business will ever need. You need to give your business the ability to be accessible anytime, anywhere, and with Gage's cloud-based phone system, you'll be able to accomplish just that. Not only do they have Gage Cloud Voice, they have fully managed IT services that are proactive network monitoring, 24/7, 365, help desk, business continuity. They are there for you. What you're also going to need is some cybersecurity. Gage is there to safeguard your business from potential cyber threats, even when you aren't aware they exist. Gage also is power and leaders in standby generators. They are the #1 Cummins dealer on the Gulf Coast and provide generators to homes and businesses of any size so you can keep life going. Gage, better connected, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show.
Good. No, you're 100% right. when you leave and you go and be an entrepreneur, it's tough because the biggest thing that you lose is being that stability that's given to you by some 9 to 5, right? So when you have your 9 to 5, you're there, you know what you're going to do, you know what your workflow is going to be, and then you're also kind of like given it, right? So you, even though you were the marketing director, you've got like a boss, right? So then now that you're the entrepreneur, it's like it's all on you.
Yeah, and there's no off switch.
Yeah.
So a lot
there's no off switch when you're an entrepreneur.
So it's like when you become an entrepreneur, you're like freedom, in which there are so many aspects of freedom that you get.
Yeah.
But there's no turning it off. So like the phone rings, like I'm really bad at boundaries in general. I'm a huge people pleaser. I've definitely come a long way. So I knew when I left my 9 to 5, well, 8, I don't know why people say 9 to 5. It was literally 8 to 5. And I was like, you know what? This isn't me easy. I'll make my own schedule. But I never knew when to not answer the phone or handle things while I was with my family or with my kids. And I'll look at people that are in corporate and they're like, God, I wish I had your life. Because like maybe I'm going to lunch, but I'm going to lunch with someone I'm doing business with, or maybe I'm going to get my nails done or whatever the case may be during the day. And I'm like, yes, you have to report to an 8 to 5, but mine doesn't shut off at 5. Like, I don't turn my brain off. I still answer phone calls. I still answer text, emails. I should not. I should set better boundaries. But when you become an entrepreneur, it's not just a flip of a switch. If you want to build a business and you want to be successful, then you have to put in the actual work to do that.
And when you have that attempt at a switch, because you really can't, I mean, even with my 8 to 5 is, I mean, it's really like a 6 to 4:30. But like I have struggle turning off completely from work, whether it's the show or it's the firm. It's like I struggle turning that off because I always I have this feeling like I've got to respond to this. I've got to reply to this. I've got to address this issue, this concern. And it's tough to balance that, especially whenever you become an entrepreneur and there's not anybody else that can handle it.
Right.
And or you're dealing with the owner or the decision maker that's like, no, I need you to deal with it now. I need you to correct the issue now, not later. So I don't care what you're doing, but you need to address this issue.
Right.
This is on you, not on me.
And I think too, especially like with what we do for a business, where social media doesn't sleep. So like when we take on a client, we monitor your platforms, whatever one they are. Doesn't matter which one it is. You have an account manager. They monitor it 24/7.
Yeah.
Like that is our job. So when you sign up to be an employee of ours, you now know that it does not shut off. It is not like my girls know it's not 8 to 5, period. Because we are monitoring all the comments, all the messages, all the things that are happening with their social media. And if God forbid a misspelling go through, or someone says something bad on the internet about your company, or you have a message they want to hear more information, because the moment you wait, like that's my biggest thing is I'm not scared. I'm just really prompt on responding to people, whether it's a client, whether it's a new inquiry, whether it's my employees. You can ask Heather, like, I will text you at any time because that's when my brain's working.
Right.
And I have a minute to think about things. But I'm scared if I don't respond in that moment to said like new clients or my current clients. And this is just a fear that I have to get over myself. So I know this when I say this out loud, it sounds crazy. But I feel like I'm failing in the sense of either I'm going to lose business because I didn't answer fast enough to that new client, or B, the client's not going to understand that I have a family.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
I know. It's so psycho to think that way, but that's just how my brain's wired. I don't know why, but it is. But
well, and that I think is a bigger discussion, not on just being an entrepreneur or managing clients' expectations, but I think just as a society where we're like, the boundaries of business have no ends.
None.
Where beforehand it was like, all right, I'm off the clock. I'll see you later. And now with the advancement of technology, with the access we have to everything on the internet, it's like, well, no. You don't, business doesn't shut off.
No.
You don't, people on the extreme will be like, you don't have a no off time. Like you got to be able to answer whatever it is that I need at that given time.
Exactly.
And it's some businesses do what they can to be like, no, we really clock out and are done at this point in time. There are some companies that are so adamant about it. They're like, look, if you need something done and it's after 5 o'clock or whatever, sorry, but
we're not doing
it. We're not doing it, you
right.
know? And commend those folks for giving that just brick wall that they've built
Yeah.
to not allow their clients or their customers to really essentially walk all over them. But like when you're new, you just don't have that luxury.
Right. And I think too with social media now, it's showing the highlights of people's life when they're building a business. So they feel like it's easy when there's so much that you see on the internet that's like the hustle culture is no longer a thing. You don't have to do that. Honey, yes, you do. Number one, social media is fake. It's a preview of people's life. You don't see the early mornings, the late nights of what that owner or business owner is doing. Yes, they get the freedom that you may envy, but do you understand all aspects of what it takes to build an actual business? And so I think with society now, like just like how you just said, you have to work in order to build your business. You have to work in order to build your resume, to build your experience, for people to know who you are. So then you charge the premium pricing. But with social media, people are like, well, that looks just so easy for Patty G. I mean, he started a podcast and look at him now. You know what I mean? Like, so it's the whole mindset shift of what it is like to be an entrepreneur. But a lot of people don't talk about what it's like to be an entrepreneur. So they only see the highlights. They don't see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's just like what the society we live in now is what people are used to.
Well, and that's another thing that social media has great elements of it, great components of it, can do wonders, can work magic for businesses and individuals, but where we have to be careful from an analyzation perspective of what we're seeing on social media is the fact that people present their best selves, meaning you're only ever going to see the best of somebody. You're only ever really going to see them at their peak, them living the best life. You know, people aren't really going to post, hey, can't do this, can't do that, struggle with this today, struggle with that today, for the most part, for the majority. There are some folks out there that will go through and present everything as it is, and they'll have meaningful conversations around it, and they're going to do very well. But those folks that are just like, here's me, it's the greatest day ever, it's the best thing, everything's going so wonderful, like what is that authentic? Because nobody has a great day every single day.
No.
You're going to have at least a day a month where it's going to be rough. It's going to be brutal, if not every other day, you know?
Right. And I think that's what I tell a lot of my clients is, or just people in general. I taught a class yesterday and a lot of people have such reservations about getting on social media because of the mental capacity that you have to have in order to be on social media. So basically what I mean by that is you are so fixated on, and there's nothing wrong with the people that I'm about to say, but we're so fixated on influencers or people that show perfection of what they offer, what they do, and they look prim and proper and perfect on camera. They're so skinny, or their voice sounds great. They sound scripted. They like sound like a natural, that it stops people, the normal people, from getting in front of the camera and talking about their service or product that they sell. I said, everybody sucks the first time they do it.
Yeah.
Everyone sucks. You're letting the whole mental state of perfection and what people think of you and what they're going to think of you, because the people you follow and people that you watch on social media are so perfect, that it's stopping you because you're scared somebody's going to judge you, or they're not going to like how you sound or look, or honestly, it's just you that is stopping yourself from getting on camera and talking about what you have to offer the world. There's somebody out there that needs to hear you.
Yes, there's somebody out there that needs to hear them. And there's somebody out there that needs to see you where you're at to get themselves out of their chair, in front of a camera, in front of whatever it may be they're trying to do, and speak their truth, whatever it may be.
Yes.
You have to see somebody where you're at, to where it's like, oh my gosh, I can relate to that. Okay, I can do this thing.
Yes.
You know, I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be the very best from day one. I mean, there was not a show that we recorded that we didn't publish because it wasn't perfect.
Right.
You know, now we've had some failures where we've lost some shows and we got to re-record them, and we've got some data situations that you're working through, but there's never been a chance where we recorded it and I was like, you know, I just wasn't on today. Now, I'm sure there's lots of shows where I wasn't on, and you can go back and tell,
anyway.
but you still have to do it. You still have to put it out there.
Right.
And because we're human, we're all going to make a mistake. There's going to be situations that we're beyond our control that we can't predict that they're going to occur. and resolve them. I mean, we've lost shows before. It's just part of going through the process. I mean, it's like if you're in a restaurant and they drop your plate on the ground, you got to go back and you got to redo it. You can't just sit there and be like, oh, you know, Men in Black, didn't happen.
Yeah,
you know?
or you're just
we didn't drop the plate on the ground.
Right.
No, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
You can lose stuff. You cannot go through with stuff. It's what you have to do as a human is you have to, when that happens, you got to, you know, like Bluey, you got to cry a little, you got to dust yourself off, and you got to stand up and go back.
You have to just do it. And the thing with what I like to tell people is this, is if you don't just start, you never will start.
100%.
Or if you can't get comfortable being uncomfortable, then you never will do it. And if you can't get over yourself, and I say this like harsh, but in the same sense, I battle this too, even though I'm 2.5 years in. You can't get over the fear of what people are going to think. Well, I don't care about that anymore, but the fear of failure, the fear of it not performing as much as you want, or you feeling like you look too fat, or you feel like you're stupid, or you sound like your voice is so crazy. Like if you can't get over that aspect of what you're doing, then your goals and what you want in life aren't big enough.
Yeah.
Because you're comfortable where you're at, and then that's just how you're going to live your life. And so what I like to tell people is this: if you can't, I can't make you press record. Right. I can't make you do it. I can stand here, hold your hand, and motivate you to get there, but you have to hit record, do not watch it, and just post it. Like I love to tell people that, and they're like, what do you mean do not watch it? I'm like, because if you watch it, then you're going to be like, I can say that better, I can do this better, and you're your own worst critic. People don't care about you, this is also harsh, as much as you think that they do, in the sense of they're going to cheer you on.
Yeah.
They're going to be there for you chasing your dreams. And I want you to know that social media isn't about perfection anymore. I live in it every single day. My clients live in it every single day. And everything that we preach is authenticity. If you show up about who you are and what you're about and your values and your mission and what leads you to do the business that you do, then you're going to build such a connection with your community that it's unbreakable, that no matter what your competitor offers, whether it's a cheaper price, anything, they can take them out to dinner, they can wine and dine them, they're never going to leave you, ever. And so that is the whole power behind social media, is pull back that curtain. Let your consumer know who you are, what you offer, and the value that you're bringing to them, and how you're going to make their life easier in the end.
Yeah. Like this sense for perfection, this,
yes,
you know, this thought behind everything has to be crystal clear. It has to be so scripted. It's got to be this ideal issue, this ideal vision that people are after, and that's all that we can release. Leave that to Hollywood and the big box movies that are creating those products. I get that for them, but unless you're them, there's a little leeway there.
Right.
You know, there's a little leeway to creating your content where it's like, okay, that's really good. You know, that person's being real. You know, they're sitting there at their desk and they're like, well, y'all, just had an order that was canceled. That was a big order that was going to change our life. And now we got to figure out what we're going to do.
Yeah.
You know, now there's also a balance, because people have figured out that manipulation works, and emotional manipulation can be an effective boosting tool across social media.
Okay.
So meaning to do things and go above and beyond things just to draw attention to yourself.
Yep.
Meaning to be over the top and not really authentic can come across, if it comes across as authentic, but it's not, and you're like over the top and it's like, oh my gosh, this happened, and like you're dramatizing a situation that shouldn't be dramatized and manipulating people's emotional intellect from the video, that's where it can get dangerous. And some influencers have done that, and then it gets dicey.
Thank you so very much to Building 5 for becoming the latest sponsor of the Patty G Show. We are going to be filming once a month at Building 5. We're going to post about it on our social so you can come and visit with us. Building 5 is an excellent food establishment if you're into sharing boards and really getting a creative menu. Misty and Brumby have done an excellent job of creating an environment that's warm, welcoming, and inviting for every single occasion. Go on over to Building 5 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and tell them that the Patty G Show sent you.
The thing what I tell people the most is if you stay true to yourself, like through and through, don't follow a trend. Don't try to be like someone that you look up to. Don't try to be like anyone else. Literally be yourself, and you can't fail in the sense of not authentically showing up for your community. Yes, you will fail. I actually embrace failure because it makes you better. But in the sense of if you stay true to your morals and not try to be over the top to pull on those emotional heartstrings when, yes, that is obviously the key component to marketing. That's how people get you to buy things is by emotion. But be yourself. People can see right through that. And the last thing that you want people to start believing is that you're faking everything and this isn't really who you are.
Right.
So if you're not really good at sharing your emotions, then don't show it. Like, just don't. Then be like a brick wall. I'm always happy. This is my life. If you follow me, you know I'm an emotional freaking roller coaster. I show you, literally, you'll see videos of me crying. You'll see videos of me laughing. My energy level is like way through the roof for a lot of people that I meet. Like, I'm unapologetically myself in the sense of like, if you don't like me, I'm really sorry. I am a people pleaser, so I say that very loosely. But in the same sense, I've learned and grown very tough skin in the last 2.5 years because I live my life on social media.
Yeah.
And so I think that if you can be authentic in yourself, you're going to be far beyond more successful than anyone else that you can imagine, because that's the community that people want to build right now. And that's the community that people crave right now. And everybody that you look up to, even though they didn't show where they started, they all started here. They didn't just wake up and become super successful, whether it's speaking on stages or have this huge business and corporation, whatever the case may be. They didn't start there. They started where you are, but they just started.
Yeah.
That's the huge difference.
100%. You have to just put it out there. You have to just start. I mean, the first episode I did of this was on my phone with a voice memo, and it was like 10 or 12 minutes or something. And I like sat in my truck and I was going to film it. I was like, okay, filming is very important. I need to have film. I need to just film myself doing this.
Yeah.
And I was not comfortable behind the camera. I was like, this is weird. This is totally weird. So I like went and locked myself in my home office. I was like, you have 15 minutes until your wife gets home. I was like, you have to press record and get something out there, upload it, and just do it.
Yeah.
You just have to start. Otherwise, you're never going to get off the ground. You're never going to do this thing that you've been wanting to do. So you just have to do it. And so I did. I sat there and probably rambled for 8 minutes and realized, oh, okay, this isn't terrible. I mean, I'm terrible, but like, I think if I had somebody sitting next to me, I could do this.
Right.
And so then the very next one was on my kitchen table, and it was like 35 or 42 minutes.
Because it's a conversation. I'm going to ask you, I'm flipping the script of where I'm going to interview you for like 1 second, because obviously that's what I do. But at what point did you feel confident? Like, how, if you could go back and think about, okay, you were nervous. You gave yourself a timeline of, I have 15 minutes to record because my wife is coming home. I'm scared to do it in front of her. I'm definitely not doing it in front of her because you were nervous. I'm not putting the camera on. At what point did you just say, this is it? We're turning the camera on. And now I'm confident. I mean, now we have like 5 cameras looking at us. We like all these things and you haven't even blinked. You know what I mean? Like, so kind of tell people where your confidence has grown from when you started. Yeah, you've been doing it for 4 years, but.
So in order to answer that, I have to give you a little bit more backstory.
Give it to us.
So in high school, I did speech and debate. And I competed regionally, and then I competed on the national level for 2 years.
This is like second nature to you.
Right. So when I tell you my answer is episode 3.
Well, that didn't take long.
Right.
But that's okay.
But like it was because episode 2 was a friend of mine who was doing video production. And then episode 3, I was like, you think you can come film for us this next episode? And by that time, I was like, I bought some Amazon gear. I'm now using a podcasting platform. I'm using a recording application on my computer. Like now I think I'm like, oh, I'm pretty legit here.
Like you made it. Look, Ma.
Like legit.
Episode 3. Got it.
I was like, okay, episode 3, I convinced my wife to let me spend $100 on gear. Oh, I'm talking like she said, okay, you have $100 to spend. She's like, $100, you can do your little podcast thing for $100 for your hobby.
Now look at me now.
And I was like, okay, you got it. Will do. And so I stuck to the $100 budget.
Yeah.
And I bought 2 microphones. I bought a mixer and a cable.
Holy crap! All for $100. Look at you.
I mean,
I get it.
It was Amazon. All right.
Yeah,
So the microphones were like $20 a piece.
Yeah.
And then I spent $60 on a mixer. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it wasn't any crazy gear, but I was like, and then I used Audacity for record into.
Yeah.
And so I was recording the audio, and then my buddy brought his camera and did all the filming and everything. And we did it on my back porch.
That's
and
amazing.
my like a little screen porch area. And so, yeah, by episode 3, I was like, okay, I've already done one. Like, I've done 2 at this point. I'm like, I've got 2 in the bag.
Yeah.
And the good thing that I think what helped me was I had 2 people in the room. One person I was interviewing and another person who had been with me on the first episode. And I went to college with both of them.
So it was easy.
So I had like 2 or 3 years of a relationship with these people. And like we met outside of class. So there was comfort level there.
Yeah.
So I tell you this because episode 3 is not typically when people get comfortable if they're doing something like this for the first time.
No.
It takes, who knows? I mean, there's not really a number. It's whatever it takes that person to get comfortable with.
Right.
So for you, and you've got a podcast that we haven't really dove in on yet.
Yeah.
But to kind of punt it back to you, what was episode number for you to get comfortable?
1 was terrible. I launched 4 at one time because I knew like I couldn't just launch 1 and I wanted people to binge listen. And actually, I think that was a genius idea. So kudos to my mentor at the time because she still is, but she actually told me to do that.
Like 4 episodes in one day?
Yeah. Like the day I launched 4. So like if they listen to 1 episode, they can like, you know, like when you want to binge something, you have them, they have 4 episodes to listen to. So now they're really excited for every Wednesday. Right. Launch a new one. So I strategically did it. It was like a solo interview. I'm really good at interviewing. Like I love conversation. I love talking. I love picking brain. I never knew, I'm literally going to toot my own horn, how good I was at interviewing someone until I started my podcast. And I was like, oh my God, I just genuinely love to learn about people. My solo one's still very uncomfortable. Sweaty armpits, want to crawl in a hole. And I get on video. I mean, hell, if you go to my social media, it's just my face.
Yeah, you're on video all day long.
All the time. But I will tell you a secret. So everyone that's listening, I get freaked out just like you. You can ask anyone that works with me. I can count probably on one hand how many times I've done stories in front of another human. Like it always has to be by myself.
Okay, so that's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
So like with McLavy, we have our outfit of the days, right?
Yeah.
And so then we go film these in the store. It's a different feeling if there's other people shopping in the store.
You feel awkward.
Then the like even if it's the employees in there, I'm like, okay, this is fine. But then it's like total stranger walks in and they're like shopping like while I'm talking about this outfit. I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, I don't like
it's
this.
It's a weird thing.
Like that still gets me uncomfortable.
Or if I'm like talking to my phone and I'm at a red light, now you can't see through my windows, but where you used to could see, they were probably like, what the heck is this girl doing? And I could see them out of the corner of my eye and I'm like, yep, they're watching me and I just lost my train of thought. But like, even like I'll be recording myself doing a story because now it's like second nature and my husband will walk, it's getting better. But like he'll walk in, I'm like, you just screwed all that up. Because now I don't even remember what I was talking about. I have to delete this because now I'm embarrassed because you're watching me record myself on my phone. So it's just like for me to say, like, I don't necessarily think that you're going to get to a great comfort level of doing it. It's just the mindset of like just doing it. Like,
well, and so it's also, so for me, it's like different. It's differently. So for the outfit of the days, and when it's just me is when I get uncomfortable.
Really?
Yes, because we used to film at Uncle Earl's. During the pandemic, we filmed at Uncle Earl's because they were closed. And I was like, hey, you know, I know the folks that own it. I'm like, I'll come in there. I just need a place to record.
Right.
Like, my wife doesn't want all these people coming to our screen porch anymore.
I need a new place, please.
I need a new place. Can we film at the bar? Like, we like lock it up. We'll treat it like our, you know, like I would my own house. Like, and so can I use it? I said, absolutely. And they go, well, we got the big walls. Like, we'll record right in front of the sign. Record right in front of the Uncle Earl sign. And they're like, okay, great. And so I would tell everybody, hey, bring people. Like, we're at a bar. Like, we can do whatever we need to. And they would bring, like, guests. And so they would have, like, 10 or 20 guests in the audience.
Shut up.
And I was fine with that.
I would freak out about that.
Because I had the other person.
Yeah.
And now that for me, when we do stuff and I'm, like, solo filming, I'm like, this is not like, because I can't.
When you have no one looking at you, it's weird.
Yeah.
When I solo episode film, I do it all on my computer, where it's just easy. Like, I have a camera. I don't feel like setting it up. Like, this is super lazy sounding. But I do it on my computer. I use my Mac camera. I have my microphone I plug in, and I literally just stare at the little dot at the top. And I'm like, this is so freaking awkward. Because I can see myself. There's no one in here. And it's terrible. Every time I submit it to my producer, I'm like, that was a terrible episode. If it sucks, please delete it. And let's just act like I don't need a solo episode at all anymore. So I think it's funny to tell people they don't believe me necessarily that I get as nervous as they do, because I'm on video all the time. I speak on stages. Like, I do all those things. And they're like, how are you nervous? I'm like, I'm just like you. I'm just chasing my dreams because I have bigger goals to get to.
You just show up and you do it. You
I just
have
do
to.
it. I turn into a different person, I think,
you
at
let
this
the
point.
nerves kind of sit there, but you can still be nervous and push through the nerves to get something done.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people let the nerves overpower them, and that's where they kind of fall backwards, and they put themselves up against the wall and say, I can't do this. I can't go out there and I can't give this speech. I can't stand behind a microphone or a podium and do what I need to do to present, so I'm just going to let somebody else do it. Or I can't get behind a camera or a microphone and do a podcast because it's just the nerves consume them so much so, and they just end up like going into a very dark place. Like, nope, not doing this piece. I'm out.
Patty G Show is proudly brought to you by Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelry. Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelry is a local business right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They create handcrafted jewelry for everyday use, that special occasion, whatever it may be. Gentlemen, they've got amazing jewelry both for male and female. Everyone is their audience. You know, after years of experimenting with everything from ceramic jewelry, glass beads, and enamel, they've settled in on the ancient art of lost wax casting. Is their main form of creating their work. They cast everything in bronze, sterling silver, and 14 karat gold. Every step of the way is done here right in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Proud sponsors of the Patty G Show. Mimosa Handcrafted Jewelers. Get out there and tell them that Patty G sent you, and they're going to take great care of you on your next order.
So, like, we've had to... That's one of the things you never think about when you do a podcast, is having to also be a comforter and a coach before you press record.
Right.
And getting people warmed up. So, like, generally we'll have, 10 or 15 minutes of the show before we even press record where I'm just like having dialogue.
Okay.
Let's put a microphone in front of you. Let's get some photos. Let's make sure all this stuff's right. I'm like, it's partly intentional to make sure that the people have time to calm down and relax. And that's when we always just tell them, like, no, right here, you and me. That's it. This, don't look at anything else. It's just you and me. That's it.
I recorded someone the other day and she was so nervous, and I flipped the switch, like the script of like, so typically I always start with like, tell everyone who you are because they might not know you. And the first thing I've noticed is people don't like to talk about themselves. And
really?
In the sense of like, hey, I'm Shelby Claymore. I was born in da-da-da-da-da. Well, I don't like talking about myself. See, you asked me about myself and I dove right into like my work life. I didn't even like, I skipped over who I am, I think. I don't remember. I blacked out in the beginning of the show, straight up. And so what I tried the last time I did recording is I said, okay, well, tell me about your business. And I'm telling you, a switch flipped in her brain. And at the end, I said, now tell us who you are. And like, it was a completely different person because she was so nervous.
So now, do you ever take that from an editing standpoint and flip it? Okay, so you just let it play out like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I learned it too. I learned the trick from Jasmine. She just said too, and it's genius. And I think about like, if you're listening to something, like you want to get to the point of like, what is this episode about? And they want the goods. They don't necessarily want to hear your intro and then hear the intro of that person. They might. I do, but some people don't. If you're talking about marketing, or if you're talking about your money of your business, or like whatever the case may be, they want that juiciness. So she's like, just skip to the good stuff and then ask that person who they are at the end. Leave that for the end. And so I was like, that's actually a really good idea. So I tried it on her because she was very nervous. Like she was just like, I don't know what I'm going to say. Wait, can I start over? Like she started recording and I was like, okay, let's take a breath. Let's tell me what you do. Tell me how it started. Let's start that. Because like when people are happy and they're in a business and they're an entrepreneur and they started this, it's easy for it to just like flow.
Well, it's like asking a parent to tell you about their kid. And for entrepreneurs, their businesses are their babies.
Yes.
You know, they've created them, they've molded them, they've shaped them, and they've trained them to be what it is they envision that they be one day.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, okay, well, I can talk about that all day long, you know, but you want to talk about me personally. Well, that's, you know, I am my brand, you know, and for some people that's true. Some people, they are their business. And so you ask them, how are you doing? Oh, I'm okay. I'm good. You know, but it's like, okay, well, you know, how's the family? Oh, well, let me tell you about this. And then it's like, oh, all right. They don't necessarily want to talk about themselves, but their business, they're way more than open.
Yep.
So you've now got this marketing agency that went from a side hustle. Then you took a leap off the diving board and now you're in this thing full time.
Full time.
How was it the first couple months getting this thing started?
It was crazy. I was definitely in way over my head. I remember I had talked about this with one of my coaches on her podcast, and I was like, I remember starting my business. It matched my salary. I was making money.
Right.
But I didn't want to invest in a scheduler. And if you're a social media manager, like, you understand what that means. Like, this is how you schedule your content.
Right.
So I'd wake up every morning. I had 10 clients at this time at 5 a.m. and I'd post for every single person in real time on every single platform.
So you wouldn't like use because some platforms have scheduling tools built within them. You wouldn't use those.
So, okay, when I was with MVI, like my corporate job, I used Canva. I scheduled it out with Canva because the Canva Pro, you have a scheduler in it and they weren't going to buy another scheduler. So I was like, let me get ahead of the game because I had other tasks I had to do as a marketing person. And then when certain things only let you hook up so many accounts, so you have to think about it as like you're one, so Shelby Claymont Marketing, and then every platform that you're on. So after the social media marketing world, one of the women that I saw speak, she talked about a platform. We use Metricool, and it basically integrates with all platforms, and it's for social media managers. And so I remember she said that it was a great platform. So like, that's where I was fixated. Yeah, there's Buffer. Yeah, there's Later. Yeah, there's all these other options and there's free tools within it. And in my mind, I was like, no, I think Metricool I think it's like $1,400 a year. And I didn't want to spend that money. I was like so scared to invest in anything. So I remember waking up and logging on to every single account on Instagram and Facebook and whatever other platform we were on and manually posting. And my husband was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, posting for my clients.
Like drafting the copy though, right?
It was also how we work. We do it. Yes, it's in a different place, but it's not within the platform. So I had to go to where we store it, copy it, download their graphic or video, post it, then on to the next, and then on to the next. So it took me probably like 45 minutes to do all of them because I'm doing it in real time because I didn't want to spend $1,400 in the beginning because I was scared.
Yeah. No,
I was scared.
I get that. I used a free podcast recording app. I used my iPhone for video, and I used a free podcast publishing app. I get it.
You get it. You just have to do what
it wasn't until this year we started paying for like Adobe. You know,
I feel like legit now.
Like we did like Canva for a while because it was cheap, and then I'm like, all right, now we're moving to the full Adobe suite.
Yeah.
So now I got all the Adobe products. I'm like, and now we pay for that because you just gradually get to the point where you're like, okay, we just need something better.
Right.
We've exceeded we've exceeded the tools, and now we're at the point where it's like, well, all these different tools that we had, we just find the best one we can use, and that's what we're going with. But in the beginning, in the beginning, I was using like PowerPoint to do the graphics.
Oh, nice.
And I figured out a way that the Mac allows to copy and paste an image into another image. So, because I would always have a photo and then I have my logo in the bottom of the corner. And I would copy my image. Then I finally got the person who designed it to give me a PVG file that did not have any backgrounds. Mm-hmm. And so finally I was able to copy that and paste it into it in the Mac and then save the image. And then that's what I would use for the photo.
Look how far we've come.
So yeah, you find the free tools when you're scrappy. You're scrappy because you're a startup entrepreneur and you're really a solopreneur.
Oh, yeah.
So you're scrappy.
Oh yeah. I remember that. I remember in our guest bedroom working literally all the time. I had a newborn, had about a 6-month-old, 20-month-old. And it was just like grinding because I have to prove that I can do this. And like, I remember when I first started, I was scared to fail. I mean, hell, everyone's scared to fail. I'm still scared to fail. But like in the sense of like, what am I going to do? My life is over type of very dramatic. If you know me, I'm a very, very dramatic human being. And now it's like the confidence is there. If I fail, what am I going to learn from it? And if I fail and this business closes, God forbid, I never think it will, but I'm confident that I could go get another job. But as a startup, you have so many stresses of like, what did I just do? You know what I mean? And you have to trust that you're on the path of where you're supposed to go and the next journey that you're supposed to encounter within your life and do. And so like, it was worth everything. Like I literally do not miss it. I remember sleepless nights. I remember my boundaries then definitely didn't exist. I remember talking to clients at 10:30 at night about social media. Like I was like, what? You know, I wish I would have documented it more. I do think back on, I wish I would have videoed way more then of like the late nights or just like me being in the guest room or my first employee and like all of those things. But I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah. Well, and also you learn so many different things so quickly whenever you have to figure it out. And you're not given the solution. And your best friend becomes Google and YouTube.
Yup. And it's not just the one thing you started the business for anymore. Now you are an entrepreneur. So you have to know the business side, why you started it, which mine was the love of social media marketing for your for businesses. Now I do administrative work, payroll, hiring, firing. Like you have to do the other aspects that you forget about when you want to become an entrepreneur.
And I think that conversation is often not gotten to early enough when you're building a business.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're building a business, you're working in your business. You're working in it every single day. You're developing relationships with your clients, your customers, your products, your services are getting better and better every single day. You're in it, you're in it, you're in it. Then you hire somebody. And then you have to now be a manager. Then you now have to worry about payroll. Now you have to worry about being in HR. Now you have to work on your business.
Yes.
And you have to trust that the person you've hired can work in your business and conduct business on your behalf. Then as you continue to grow, you spend more time working on your business than working in your business.
Exactly.
And what you started out initially was to create social media content and social media marketing for businesses.
Right.
And then now all you do, I'm sure, all day is try to get new clients and manage your staff. Mm-hmm. And you're never typing out copy. You're never editing a video. You're never sitting there pressing post.
I tell people this all the time. You start a business because of what you love to do and what you want to do, and then you like end up not doing that anymore. And so then you feel rusty. So like, for example, just like what you said, because that's very true, you work in your business to build it, to build the standards that you have to deliver to your clients. So then you therefore show that employee, and then you show the next one, and then you craft a manager that then shows them. So when you do step back in and you do have to, because like I'm the first to say, what do you need help with? Do I need to help grind? Do we need to pump out content? Do we need to create graphics? Do I need to help you, teach you how to do video? Like all these things. And I'm like, am I even good at this anymore? Because I haven't touched it in so long. But it's just, I learned to take a step back because I don't want to be a micromanager, but I'm very specific or particular on how things are, especially with the quality. I'm learning to trust a lot more. And Heather I literally texted her yesterday and said, I'm going to stop micromanaging because I don't want to be that, in the sense of I'm trying to let go. And last December was when I really started investing in my business. So I got a coach. And then I invested in this mastermind that I never in a million years thought I would get in. And now I have another coach. And just the return on the fact that I took a step back and I wasn't just like, I just want to keep all this money like chilling right here. I'm not going to grow. I don't want to work on it. I mean, I got nervous. I got scared. I was like, I want this number to stay in the bank account. When in the reality is you have to spend money to make money. You have to spend money to learn more. You have to invest in your business, whether that is hiring employees, whether that is continuing education for you as the business owner, whatever the case may be. You have to get out of that scared mentality and start doing. And I didn't learn the work on your business until probably last year when I finally took the leap of faith and hired my first business coach.
And that's the other thing. You have to have the self-wherewithal to recognize where your weaknesses are and hire for your weaknesses.
Oh, yes.
Not your strengths.
Exactly.
And then when you get to the point where all your weaknesses, for the most part, are covered from your business standpoint, it's like, all right, we're good. We've got a great, solid team built, and we have the people in place to execute for our clients.
Yep.
How do I get to that next level? What is that next level? How do I don't even know what I'm looking for. I need to find somebody who's 100x what I'm doing right now.
Yep.
And I need to talk to them.
Yep.
And see if they will help me get to 100x of where I'm at.
You have to put yourself in a room of people where you're the dumbest in the room. And you have to be willing to learn from that person. And you have to be willing to take all of that advice and soak it in, ask those questions, ask the right questions, understand there is really no wrong question because they've been there. They've done that. And in order for you to scale, you have to align yourself with people that have been there before and that can help you scale your business. And so I have a coach right now that I met through the mastermind that I've been in. And before this, I was like, what the hell is even a mastermind? Which I'm a huge advocate of them now. But I have a coach now. Her name is Casey D'Amato, and she challenges the hell out of me, where it's, you want to get to this level, you want to 10x your business, you want to have this much, how many clients next year paying at this price, whatever. This is what you have to do. Put on your damn blinders and let's get to work.
Yeah.
And you need those people in your life if you want to grow. If you want to stay safe and comfortable, then chill with what you're doing. You know what you're doing. You did it. But at what point are you willing to get uncomfortable, hire that expert that knows how to get you to that next level, and just go for it and invest in your business in other ways than just hiring? You need people that's going to teach you how to grow that business in a different way. So I think I'm a huge advocate now for coaching and growing your business and doing all the things because I've just seen it. I mean, I've spent a lot of money in the last year on coaching, but it's working. So I'm like, hey, I'm here for it.
Well, and that's another thing too, is being open to taking advice, being open to taking somebody to coach you to that next level.
Yeah.
And recognizing that, no, I know it all. I know what I'm doing. I don't need that coaching. Like, well, no. You don't. You really don't. There's somebody else that knows something more than you.
Right.
Or they know how to more efficient process. They know how to get from point A to point B in a unique enough way that you weren't even thinking about.
Right.
You need to talk to them.
And then the outside perspective of your business. They're fully removed from your business. So sometimes when you're in your business and you're trying to make decisions on behalf of your business, sometimes the emotional tactics get in there too. When you hire a coach from the outside that learned your business and knows what's doing, but also they know how to get you to that next level, they're your sounding board to help you make that decision of what you should be doing. And a lot of times, like, to wrap this into like what we do as well, is like when you hire us for social media, you have to trust that we're the experts in the sense of like, we know what we're talking about. You're paying me to help enhance your brand awareness on social media. So marketing is the exact same as it's always been. It's just a new marketing medium we're using in the sense, but we know how to work that platform. We know what works. We know what doesn't work. So just taking that step back and allowing us to learn your business and understand your tone, understand your brand, understand what you're trying to get across to your consumer, and then letting us implement what we know within social media, that is huge. And so when we get the clients that take a step back and they're like, I hired you, please tell me what we need to do, and then just do it.
Right.
That is the type of people that you need to be in order to grow your business, whether that's with social media or just growing your business in general.
Yeah, and those are the type of people that you want as clients because they're like, I trust you, I believe in you, I'm going to let you take it.
Thank you to Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge for making this show possible. Nick Pentis is a past guest. We love having him on. Listening to him talk about the culture they have over at Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge is really an incredible thing to hear. how they treat not only their employees, but every customer that walks through the door. You are more than just a number to them. They're going to give you that white glove concierge service every step of the way. They're going to make you feel like family and take what can be a stressful time in people's life, shopping for a car. They're going to make it so enjoyable and so pleasurable. You're going to want to go back there time and time again for every new vehicle. Thank you so very much for Mercedes-Benz of making this show possible.
So, Shelby, to get you out of here, we have 4 lists of questions we like to ask everybody.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Tell me.
What is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Dance. Because I did give up dancing to play basketball, but I do miss dancing because I try to dance now. I still dance. I have dance parties with my kids all the time.
Those are the best, right?
All the time. I would probably say that.
Okay, so dancing. I love that.
Because it's happy. Like, tell me somebody that doesn't dance and they don't smile. Like, let's be real.
I've never seen a sad person dance before.
Exactly.
Or somebody who's dancing that is sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what are 3 lessons you've learned along the way?
3 lessons that I've learned along the way, that is that you win some and you lose some. And it's all a part of God's plan and the opportunities that he has in store for you. So if you lose, if there's a client that you would really thought you wanted and that you aligned with, there's a reason why you didn't necessarily get it. Because there's bigger opportunities. And every time that happens, I'm like, it's like an aha moment. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. Even though it's hard. Number 2 would be feel what you feel in the moment. Allow yourself to feel defeated, tired, exhausted, excited, whatever emotion that it is. And then let's move on. Let's continue to grind. And then number 3, the biggest one is embrace failure, because the only way that you're going to get better, the only way that you're going to grow as a human, as a business owner, as anything in life, is to welcome failure, because any person that's super successful has failed all the time.
Oh, yeah. And they've learned from those failures.
Learned from it.
What is something you love about Baton Rouge?
Oh my gosh. I love, there's so many things. LSU, duh, because I'm an LSU Tiger.
Of course.
So Death Valley, number 1. I do love me some Mexican. We actually went to La Greta today, which it did originate in Hammond, so I will say it's from where I'm from. But we did do that. I love some margaritas for that. I would say just like, I just love Baton Rouge in general. I hate the traffic, but I do love Baton Rouge and LSU, and that's just where I was for a really long time of my life. We partied way too much, but I LSU definitely stands out.
Yeah, and it should be. I mean, that's LSU has like the ability to ebb and flow our economy. Let's be real.
Yeah.
If LSU does well, our economy does well.
Yeah.
If LSU does poorly, our economy does poorly. Like, it's that much of an impact on our community in the local area of Baton Rouge.
Yeah, LSU is Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge is LSU.
For sure.
The whole thing.
So, for the last question, what can I do to help you?
Thank you for having me on your show. Shout out to my business. I get awkward in this question. Like, it's like so weird because I hate asking. I would say, I don't know when actually this episode launches, but I do have an actual conference coming up in November 8th, 7th and 8th. It's called Damn Good Marketing Live. We have a few tickets left. I have speakers coming in from around the United States. My coach, my attorney, one of the speakers speaks to TikTok, Estee Lauder, Mac, all those people. It's just going to be such a vibe. It's going to be so good. So shout out to that. And if you know anyone that needs social media management, send them our way. You got it. And we're going to make sure we link all your social, your website, and depending on when this comes out, is it going to be an annual conference? Yes. So last year I did it. I did it free last year. It was a free social media marketing conference or day event. It was in November of last year. And did it at the Covington Beer Garden. It had just opened. And we had about 120 people come. And this year I wanted it a little bit more intimate because I'm going to have speakers lined up. Last year it was just me. And so I kind of want to build on it. And I feel like this is something that I was called to do and kind of to give back to the community. I want to bring in the people I learned from to give back to our community. And basically it's everybody that I work with or that I've hired to be a coach that I'm bringing in to take marketing to the next level. So perfect. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. Great. Well, we'll push it. If this episode comes out before it, we'll push it now. Otherwise, just check out your annual event. Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate
Thank you so
your
much
time.
for having me. I appreciate it.
This was a blast.
I know.
I'll always love talk marketing. It's like one of those things that
It's just a good
I just
conversation.
kind of geek out about, you know. So, but thank you so much for coming on, and thank you everybody else for watching and listening to the show. I'm very appreciative of your time. And look, if you're interested in what she's got going on, reach out to her, let her know that Patty G sent you. And yeah, we've got some cool things going on here in Baton Rouge, y'all. So this has been the latest episode of the Patty G Show. I'm your host, Patty G. Thank you and good night.
Welcome to the brand new Falaya mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falaya mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falaya in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falaya, it's real estate reimagined.
Imagine taxiing on a plane looking toward the end of the runway. It seems so far away, it's even hard to see it. And that's what the concept of retirement probably felt like when you were in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, way far in the distance, not visible or even a concern. But as you turn 50, something happens. Retirement suddenly seems like something real, something not too far away. In your 50s, you are rolling down the runway. Retirement is getting closer and closer, faster and faster, weeks and months zipping by. But are you even ready for a successful takeoff to retirement? Fear not, there's still runway left. But the time is now. Time to make progress and time to get a plan. The Runway Decade will help you get organized, get energized, and give you the direction you need to take off to your desired retirement. The Runway Decade, building a pre-retirement flight plan in your 50s.
Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out, Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you. McLavy's Limited, a proud sponsor of the Patty G Show, has been serving the Baton Rouge area proudly for 40-plus years. Gentlemen and ladies, if you're shopping for your man, there is no other place in the Baton Rouge area to get your clothing, whether it's game day needs, everyday needs, business attire, formal attire, whatever you want. Go over there, see Frank and Ashley. It's a father-daughter duo. They do incredible things in their store. They will outfit you from as simply a shirt that you